Surprise!
Good morning.
Good morning.
How
All
is
right.
everybody?
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Bead Maker and Coffee for Monday, October 23rd. We are a mere week and a day from SEMA. Uh,
Woo!
this is Bead Maker and Coffee with Sydney Bray Gwynn, and our amazing guest today is Jason Rose from Rupes. How you doing, Jason?
Very well, thank you, and I appreciate the invite. This is my first time on your series here, and I appreciate being here.
We're
Well, we're
super
excited to
excited
have
to
you.
have you.
Yeah.
So excited.
Well, this morning, we're looking all bright and what do they say, bushy-eyed.
Chipper.
Yes. Yes.
We're on the eve of some fun announcements, I'm sure, to happen soon, and then we've got a lot of fun news and things to get to over the next week, and then obviously the week after that, it's all SEMA all the time.
Mhm.
I'm hot off of training from the Hayward studio for a couple of weeks ago now, which was a lot of fun. We had a lot of good classes, and in addition to that, Keith and I also did our global SV day training,
Yes.
where I got to
Yeah,
shadow and support on an SV, a skills validation IDA certification for an individual. That was a lot of fun.
Super
And
cool.
other than that, I don't need to be in the way too much longer here, but
Cool.
we'll let you
Awesome.
guys get to it, jump into it, and everyone say a big hello to Mr. Jason Rose and Miss
yeah. I
Sydney.
see the comments coming in already.
Yes.
Hey, sorry, Tony. Before we go too far, Tony, I just
Yeah.
want to extend an invite to you personally because
Oh,
Sydney and I are trainers, but in the world of trainers, in the community of trainers, I just want to invite you that we can connect anytime you want. If you need any support from Rupes regarding tools or training content or anything at all, we're at your service.
well, thank you so much. Yeah,
Yep.
I did talk Bob into letting me dabble in the Rupes system a little in the training. So it's
Mhm.
actually what I bring out first. Usually for most classes, I bring out, a white, yellow, and a blue pad and the polish trio. And I just show
Yeah.
the students like, here's your basic simple 101 starting point.
Mhm.
And it kind of helps break some of the confusion down. And then I confuse them after that. But it is a very nice obviously color coded simple system for them. So, but I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Anything you need from us, just reach out.
Awesome. Thanks so
Yeah.
much.
Very cool. Very
All
cool.
righty.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Tony.
No
Great
problem.
job. As most of our watchers know, this is Tony's first day solo on his new producer job. So we're super excited to have him here. Like we said, he
It's
is
working
our
great so
trainer.
far.
Yes, he's so great. Yes. So he is our director of training. And for those of you who have not met Tony in person, he will be at SEMA next week. He is not coming in until Wednesday morning, though, because he's got little guys that he needs to take trick or treating on Tuesday. So he
Hmm.
will be there Wednesday on. And then just Jason, I'm so excited that you're here with me today. You've been on my
Thank you.
list to try to capture for a while. And last week when I got to thinking, I thought, you know what? You guys have a huge announcement coming this week, which I'm so excited about. And so I looked up all the dates on when there was this huge SEMA release, which these happen a lot, right? And I know I, for one, don't know what it is, and I can't wait to find out what it is. I'm so excited. Obviously, I'm a longtime Rupes user. Love my Rupes tool. Love the 3-inch. I call it my high heel that came out last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the big announcement is tomorrow. How are you guys feeling about it?
First of all, I just want to say thank you personally for your attention and loyalty to our brand. You've always been good to us, so I appreciate your
Yeah, of
enthusiasm for
course.
our products. Yeah, tomorrow is a big day for us, and I knew that you'd be asking what what is it? What's going on?
Yeah.
And rather than just say I can't talk about it, I thought about what I can talk about,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
there is some things I can share, and I'm
We'll
happy to
take all we
share.
can get.
Right. Well, the first thing I know that I can tell you and everyone is that what we're announcing tomorrow is the result of over 5 years of development work.
Uh-huh.
So this has been a very, very long-standing project for Rupus, and it's been worked on for a long, long time by a lot of people. So how do we feel about tomorrow? We feel like we're delivering a baby. we're
Very sick. That's so
uh,
cool.
it's a big announcement for us, and
Yeah.
we actually had an early indication of how exciting this is going to be because last week, and I can share this with you, we had
Hmm.
a webinar with our distribution partners globally around the world,
Hmm.
and we did share what we're going to announce tomorrow with our
Cool.
distributors.
Hmm.
And the enthusiasm and the response is just, super
Hmm.
strong. So that was like a good early indication how tomorrow might be for us. So
Hmm.
we're very excited. So the other thing I can tell you is this is one project, and our development team, which is a lot of people, actually, it's a big team. We're working on many things. So this is just
Hmm.
one of those,
Hmm.
projects that we're launching
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I wanted you and the viewers to understand that it's not one and done for us. We as a
Okay.
company, we continually work on
Hmm.
stuff all the time, and there's actually quite a few different projects in the pipeline. So
Hmm.
we'll have something announced tomorrow. We'll have some more announced in first quarter next year. So just realize that
So cool.
there's more things, very exciting things. Um, and the other thing I wanted to share, because I'm not sure a lot of people realize this, because the questions I personally get
Hmm.
is about our products that we launch. And in the Rupes world of things, there's tools,
Hmm.
sanders, polishers,
Right.
vacuums, whatever.
Hmm.
And then we have pads that we make, and then we have
Yep.
compounds that we make. And I just wanted to share with everyone that I'm not an electrical mechanical engineer, and I'm not on that team that develops tools.
Uh-huh.
I do come in at the 11th hour on those projects to validate performance and things like
Hmm.
that. But some people have already reached out to me and
Hmm.
talking about our tools and stuff. And wow, did you design that one? And I'm like, no, I don't. I don't work on
Hmm.
tools,
Yeah.
but I'm part of the team that validates them. But when it
Hmm.
comes to the Rupes compounds and pads, I'm intimately involved in those projects. So just
Okay.
so everybody knows,
Very good. Yeah.
I'm in the middle of those things. If it's a
Uh-huh.
pad and if it's a
Okay.
compound by Rupes, I'm personally involved. And
Okay.
then last thing I wanted to share, which I can talk about, um, is the announcement tomorrow
Hmm.
is a premiere release on YouTube on the Rupes
Okay.
channel.
Okay.
So everybody could look at, you know, um, the Rupes YouTube channel tomorrow around 9 a.m. Mountain Time or
Okay.
Denver time.
Okay.
And the reason I draw attention to the video is because one of the things that you're going to discover tomorrow
Hmm.
is our capabilities as a company with Rupes regarding video content is pretty strong. And we actually, I'm proud to share this. We have two Emmy award-winning videographers on our team. So both
Okay.
Bradley and Henry have
Yes.
Emmy awards for previous content they've created.
Okay.
But these two guys who worked on this product announcement video,
Uh-huh.
um, you guys are going to be blown away by this video. It's just
Oh, that's so cool.
amazing announcement. Any a company, when you think about how they can announce a new product, there's lots of different ways you can do it.
Hmm.
But I'm really proud and happy about how we're announcing this product tomorrow.
Very cool. I'm so excited. I love product announcements, and I love the process of it and the build up to it. So I cannot wait. I will set an alarm for 9 a.m. tomorrow. So I'm super excited about that. I cannot wait. And then, so without trying to get too much out, will the release be at SEMA for people to see?
Yeah, and that's the intention
Okay.
tomorrow about the video timing. So the reason
Hmm.
it's being outed tomorrow
Hmm.
is to give it enough excitement and build up leading up to SEMA. So at
Okay.
SEMA, the new product will be in our booth. And if you
Okay.
happen to be one of
Cool.
those fortunate to go to
Hmm.
SEMA,
Hmm.
we invite you to come by the booth and experience that product.
So cool. So cool. Well, I cannot wait. I'm super excited for you guys. So I love that we
Thank
were
you.
able to get you on here. And, we always want to help build up as much hype as we can because we obviously love Rupes products, love when they, I love the way you guys release products and stuff. It's so fun. So cannot wait. So we will all be with you tomorrow morning for sure. So lots of good mornings here. So
Yeah,
real
I see a
quick,
lot of.
so real quick, let's go into, because I don't want to miss it, is my favorite part of the show, which is what was our favorite product that we used last week. So I will do mine first.
Okay.
And I am just going to have to say that I'm going to go back to Absolute. I haven't gotten to talk about Absolute for a while, and Absolute was kind of our one that we, went all out on our release, and it was really fun. And so, Absolute for me, I was, so in on the, development, the smell, the color, the label, everything of that. So I totally get your reference of, it's like delivering a baby. That's totally how I felt about Absolute as well. And Absolute for me is just one of those, it's so versatile, so versatile. I use it in my steamer, I use it in my carpet cleaner, I use it as obviously my solo wash. I don't do bucket washes in my shop.
Mm.
And, last week, our weather's starting to change. We have like super nice days or we have super cold days, rain, all sorts of stuff. And, you know, I was thinking about a lot of times, and also I started seeing chatter online about, oh, the weather's getting bad. What do you do here? What do you do there? And I've had my shop here for now 13 years, and I'm in a climate like yours where, it could snow in the morning and be sunny in the afternoon. You just never know what you're going to get. And so I'm really thankful for products like Absolute, where I can literally operate every day as if it's every other day. The weather never gets in my way. I have a process of, washing indoors. Every car turns out perfect. It's just one of those products where I just go, I'm so thankful for this because this allows my business to never be interrupted. It never lets other outside influences like weather or, you know, um, even things like I see things people talk about water restrictions and the city
Yeah.
coming and, people moving to shops with no drains or their drain gets clogged, and so I just don't have those issues. And so I love Absolute so much. It's such a great, versatile cleaner. And it's just one that last week I just kind of was like, grab the bottle and you just go, oh, I just love this. So that's my product I wanted to talk about this week. I just am so thankful for it. So, all right, Jason, what's your favorite product you used last week?
I love the way you talk because your enthusiasm just comes out. I love
I
that.
know it's a
You're
little
talking about a
ridiculous.
product that,
I know.
but you make it sound so exciting. I love it.
Yeah, I know. I just want to hug them all.
Yes. So you're so awesome. You know that?
Thank you.
Anyway, so I don't detail cars anymore, per
Hmm.
se. So if I do find myself with products in my hands, using them, it's usually in the context of a training class and I'm,
Sure. Hmm.
teaching people, or it's in product development. So last week I did have products in my hands and it was in a product development, product testing scenario.
Hmm.
But there's two products involved. One of them I can tell you what it is. The other one I can't, but I can tell
Hmm.
you how excited I am.
We're going
Um,
to get you to slip up.
yeah, I might just trip up and say, "Oops."
Maybe Tony can find the beep over.
Beep 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 beep. Um, so yeah, last week I was doing some product testing, and the two products I just want to share with you. And one is an existing Rupes item that is on the market, and we've been selling for a few years. But that's
Hmm.
our Rupes yellow DA wool pad.
Hmm.
Uh, right
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Uh, Super excited about this. Every time I use it, I mean, I was on the development team, so I know the
Hmm.
product intimately and very well. But every time I use it, I'm just as a guy that's been polishing on paint for decades, and I won't say how many, but long time. Um, it's exciting to use a product that has the performance range
Hmm.
that pad has. I mean, it has the most cut and the best finish of any particular pad of any pad on the
Hmm.
market. Of course, I'm
Hmm.
biased in that statement, but um, that yellow wool pad is just amazing on its capability and the range that it can do
Mhm.
on any given car.
Yeah.
So that one, every time I use it, I'm just really excited about that
Yeah.
Rupes DA pad.
Yeah.
Um, and then the other product was a polish that I can't say much about because it's in
Mhm.
development, but
Mhm.
one of the things I wanted to share was the in as a developer, and you push the envelopes on chemistry, and
Mhm.
you kind of push what the product's capable of doing. And when you experience a breakthrough
Mhm.
where it's like, okay, that push in chemistry worked, you
Right.
all of a sudden have a better result than you had before.
Yeah.
It's super exciting.
Mhm.
And as a detailer at heart, which is where I'm at, I'm excited whenever I work on products. I'm excited to like put them out into the universe because I know there are detailers out there that are looking
Mhm.
for better performance. They want things
Right.
to go better and faster. They want efficiency.
Yeah.
They want to please customers. So whenever I experience a product or a system that
Mhm.
is customer pleasing, but also is kind of a wow factor,
Yeah.
I'm very excited. So I
Totally.
apologize that that's a teaser, but it's a uh, just look in first quarter. We're going to be launching a polish that's going to be pretty exciting for people.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I love that. And I do a lot of trainings and I call it lovingly, I call it my diva detailing. And then I have to kind of explain it, but it really is like for me, I'm always looking for ways for detailers to work smarter, not harder, get the
Right.
best result, but being easy on their body, being easy on their machines, not spending too much time. I'm really into like efficiency and making the
Yeah.
most amount of money you can in the shortest amount of time, but delivering the highest level of finish, right? And
Right.
so I love that. I love, on my side, I love figuring out how things can be better and more efficient and offer a better result. And so I love that. That's super fun.
And I
And
know
I've
that's authentic about you because I've seen you several times in different settings talking to audiences about that, and
Mhm.
it's the real deal with you. You really care about people's efficiency, so I'm
Oh,
happy to
for
see that.
sure. For sure. And you know why is because when I first started, I didn't know there was a detail industry. I had no idea. I literally was just a mom that started detailing from home because I didn't want to work in the dental field anymore. And so the first, probably at least the first 4 or 5 years that I was in business, I was doing everything absolutely wrong. So I knew that. I mean, I killed my body, absolutely killed
Yeah.
my body
Yeah.
with really poor tools, really poor pads, really poor products. And I look back at how many hours I used to work for such little money. And then I went through several years, especially when I first started coding, I went through several years where I was way over offering. So I was doing way more correction than what I was being paid for. I was always
Yeah,
trying to be a
yeah, yeah.
hero.
It's a
And some
common thing.
Yeah, and like somebody would say, "Well, I just want an express interior." So I'd say, "Okay, that'll be $65." And then I would give them a $300 detail.
Right, right,
And
right.
so it's something that
Yeah.
I'm very sensitive to now because I know, looking back, all the mistakes I made, and it was just because I didn't have anybody to guide me, and I didn't realize that that there was a better way and stuff. And so it's something that I'm passionate about, is making sure that I help other detailers to not give themselves away,
I'm right
because
there
it's
with you. I'm
yeah.
100% with you on that. It's part of you know, the essence of what I'm doing as a trainer, and we're
Hmm.
super alike in that sense.
Yeah.
So when I started my career, I had a mobile detail business for 12 years.
Hmm.
And throughout that 12 years, I'm very happy about the 4 years that were successful
Hmm. Yes.
because the first 6 years I was doing all the
Right.
things that you mentioned. Everything you
Yeah.
listed, I did. I did everything
Yep.
wrong. I did everything, trying to do show car perfect on every car I touched, and it just was a mess for 6 years. But
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
slow, so it took me a while to figure things out. But um,
Yeah.
the final 4 years were successful. But right now, fast forward decades later, after that, where I'm at
Hmm.
personally in my career right now
Hmm.
is I'm happily at a place where and this might seem strange to some people, but I personally don't really care if there are more shiny cars in the universe.
Right.
I really, I mean, I used to care, but
Yeah.
I don't anymore. What I care more about now is helping detailers to make sure
Right.
they don't have the learning curve that I
Yes.
had. I don't
Yep.
wish that on anybody.
Yes. Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because I look back and I go, the only good thing to come out of that 4 years was the fact that I didn't quit. That was the only good thing. But I will mention too, since this is coming up, the thing that kept me from quitting was I went to SEMA. So,
Ah,
like I said, I had no idea there was a detailing industry. I'd never talked to one single person, not one single person about detailing.
yeah.
And my husband and I decided to go to SEMA. I'd wanted to go forever, and I really wasn't expecting it to have anything to do with detailing. And then we ended up in the part where there was products and stuff, and chemical guys had a huge booth, and Optimum. There was just lots of Meguiar's, and it was
Yeah.
really cool to actually get to talk to people. And I remember going like to the 3D booth and talking to those guys, and I just remember going like when they would talk about paint correction, I was like, wait, what?
What? Yeah.
So that was really that was life changing for me. So I realized SEMA's in a week, which is a little bit short notice, but to all the detailers out there, I can't urge you enough to, get involved in the industry, go out and meet, all of us, Jason, everybody who works for these manufacturers. We are very passionate about this industry, and that
Mhm.
really is why most of us are here, is we just want to help. So these events, while it seems like it's not something that would necessarily be beneficial to your business, I really think it is, because it kind of reinvigorates your business. It gives you a
Yeah.
purpose. You learn new things, you talk to people, you realize that there's a lot of us on the same boat. And so I know for me that was life changing, but the one that is coming up that I think is even probably a little bit more important is MTE. So
I
if
was
you
just
guys,
gonna say that,
yeah,
Sydney, that
yeah,
if you don't have a chance to get to SEMA,
right,
and SEMA is fantastic, but
hmm,
if you actually want a higher concentration of detailers to hang out
yes,
with,
yep,
go to Mobile Tech Expo.
yep, and more
Um,
time to hang out with people at the booths. It's a lot quieter. You have
yeah.
more intimate time to talk.
Right.
SEMA's pretty crazy. We're like the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
time.
It's
Um,
overwhelming. I mean,
yes,
I've talked
yes,
to lots of detailers that go to SEMA and they're glad that they went, but they may not go
yes,
back because it's just so
right,
overwhelming.
yeah,
But I've talked to
yep,
many detailers that have gone to Mobile Tech Expo and I've not heard not
hmm,
one detailer regret
right,
going to Mobile
yeah,
Tech Expo.
yeah.
They've all valued that experience.
Yes, it's a great, great investment in your business. And I
Yeah.
know, seriously, I would not have made it in this industry had I not, taken the leap, even when I felt like I couldn't afford it, taking the leap to make that trip. So, shameless plug there for the events coming up. Um,
Right.
all right, so let's get into some questions. Oh, wait, I wanted to tell a quick story about the wool pad because you brought it up.
Ah,
So, it has been, which this is kind of sad now that I think about it, but it has been 4 years almost to the day that since I've been at the Rupes facility. So back in October, oh wait, no, maybe that was, no, it was October 2019. I came to Rupes and did a little mini training with Dylan, and I had never used a wool pad before,
ah,
ever. And so that was my very first wool pad that I got to use. And so we went out in the training center, and at that time, only Uno, what's the other, not Uno Advanced, but Uno, what's, oh shoot, I'm
Uno
missing the
Protect.
name. Yes, Uno
Yeah.
Protect had just come out. Uno Advanced was not out. So we
Uh-huh.
played on a really beat up black rental car with the wool pad and the Uno Protect.
Yeah.
And it was crazy, crazy, crazy. And I had
Yeah.
always been such a huge fear of wool. And so that was my very first wool pad that I ever got to use. And that thing was stinking amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I still
Yeah.
use it to this day. But that was coming to the Rupes facility was what kind of crossed, which 2019, I'm sure you've heard the stories. Lots of bridges crossed in 2019. I had a fear of everything in the world. And so that was my first wool pad I ever got to use. So I hold a special
Awesome.
place in my heart with the
Yeah. Thank
Rupes
you
wool
for
too. So
sharing that. I appreciate
yeah,
you
super
sharing
fun.
that.
So I didn't want to miss that since you brought that up because I it always makes me laugh when I think back to that. So,
What
all
I
right,
think
so let's.
about in what you said was that they're one of the things that Rupus is trying to really challenge in the brains of a lot of people is that
Mhm.
traditional mindset that those of us that have been in the business for more than 5,
Mhm.
10 years, there's this mindset about paint correction that it's, compound polish wax, compound
Right.
polish wax. There's this
Yeah.
standard approach to
Yep.
doing work on paint. But that yellow wool combined with some of our other liquids and tools,
Yeah.
it wreaks havoc with that mindset because now
Right.
you can take that product and that system and do a one-step correction
Yes.
that
Yep.
back when I was a detailer,
Right.
it was not possible to get
Right.
that result with the available tech at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But
And
now
nowadays we just
it's
want to do
awesome.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we have to do two, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I just want to do one. All
So I
right.
do
So
see
let's,
some questions. Yeah.
yeah. So let's jump into these questions here. So we've got first from Puerto Rico. Jason Rose can tell about the day in the Races. I'm really bad with figuring out how to say stuff. Restaurant in Puerto Rico and the roach. Was there a roach situation in
Oh,
Puerto Rico?
oh,
That sounds scary.
I didn't know we were gonna get these kinds of questions.
He says he was there.
Yeah,
So fun.
there
Yeah.
there was a group of people. We did a big training event. Todd Helm and Alberto and I
Uh-huh.
we did this big training event, and then we went to dinner. So
Hmm.
what he's talking about is a really nice restaurant down by the beach. I mean, it was a really good place to eat.
Hmm.
But while I'm sitting there eating, there was a roach that fell from the ceiling and
Oh
landed
gosh.
on my shoulder.
Oh gosh.
A big ol'
I would
so
die.
so I look at this thing, and this thing's looking at me, and I'm like, "Oh, hello."
Oh,
So I scrape it off my arm, and then I look up, and there's, a few others hanging around the ceiling,
oh my
so I had to
gosh.
kinda move my chair.
I would die.
But,
I would die.
here's the thing, it might gross out some people but I used to live in Puerto Rico. A lot of people don't know this, but as a child, I lived in Puerto Rico for 4 years.
Hmm.
So, the crabs on the beach and the roaches and all that stuff were just it's all part of it. It's not a big deal. So I freaked out a little bit, but
Hmm.
and at that moment I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm in Puerto Rico." So
That's so funny. Oh man. I would die. I would die if
if
I
it
saw a
landed on
roach.
your
Yeah.
shoulder.
Oh my God. You would hear the loudest scream you'd ever heard in your whole life. It would
Oh
not
man,
be
the
pretty.
manager, he felt so bad. He was
Oh
really,
my
really felt
gosh.
bad about it.
I
Ah,
would die. All right. Andre
I hadn't
says,
even thought of that, but thanks for bringing up that memory.
yeah, that's hilarious. Andre says, hi, Jason. See you next week. That is,
Okay.
I cannot believe SEMA's next week. Didn't we just
I
leave? I feel like it was just
I
a
know
couple months ago. It's
this
so
year has
crazy.
gone by
I'm
crazy
so excited
fast.
about it though. All right. So Landon says, how soon will it be available for purchase? The super secret launch tomorrow. When will it be available for purchase?
I got to be careful what I say here, but early Q1.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So we can't get them at SEMA, is what you're saying.
If you knock over one of our technicians that's doing a
Hmm.
demo and grab the thing and
Okay.
race out of the building, you might be able to get one.
Okay. I could probably do that.
I
I
did not
blend in.
suggest that, by the way. I did not
Yeah.
suggest that.
Too funny. All right, Alex here. Good morning from everyone's favorite Canadian. That is true. Nice to see the master, Jason Rose.
Well,
Yes.
thank you,
Jason,
Alex.
did you get to meet Alex when you were at TRCMA, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. He's Jamie the cleaner's sidekick. They're so funny. So funny. All right, Gabriel. Question for Jason. Why is the Hybrid Nano does it
QMAG.
get um, doesn't get much podium? It's a great tool, but not much talk about. So he's just saying like it doesn't get talked about a lot. So it doesn't get on the
Yeah.
podium a lot.
Well, a reason is because QMAG, that tool and that technology, um, it's it's on the periphery of automotive, but it's primarily in another industry. So we are talking about it a lot, actually, but
Mm-hmm.
Rupes is involved in many industries. Automotive is just one of them,
Mm-hmm.
but woodworking and hard surface and marine and aircraft and all that. But
Okay.
the hybrid QMAG technology, that is really applied primarily in another industry. That's why you don't see it talked about that much here.
Okay, cool. Terry Foreman says, awesome, hashtag Rupes.
Thank
All
you.
right, so then this says, I got to figure out who said this. So, Jason, you see these ones that say Facebook user, those are coming from our Bead Maker Lounge. And so I have to go see who said it, but I'm not finding this one. But they want to know, does that mean they're going to have to make new stickers? I'm not sure who said that, but yes, probably.
Do we need
Every
to
time.
make? They're already made.
The stickers. Oh, you know who I bet that's from? I wonder if that's from Tom. I wonder if that's what new
Oh, the
his
skins.
skins. I bet you that was
Yeah,
Tom. It's not
could
showing up
be.
here, but I bet you that was him. I like guessing who said it. That's always a fun game. Jason or Joe Kimball says Jason is an amazing pillar in the industry. Every time he speaks, I listen because he has a lot to offer. But I have to say, the acceptance speech he gave at MTE for the IDA Awards is
Mm.
one speech that sticks out. Talk about friendship. Definitely. And then I'm assuming he said changed my probably outlook on life.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. I appreciate
Yeah.
you more than you know. You're an awesome person, and I appreciate that feedback. I was very
Yes.
nervous about that speech at Mobile Tech, but thank you for that feedback.
Yes. Oh, I see. It's Jody Cedric says that's Rhoda Fess asking about the stickers. So Rhoda Fess is asking if they have to make new stickers.
Uh,
So yes, always make new stickers. Everyone loves stickers. Hans says,
yeah,
"Hello, guys. Good morning, Hans. Hey, it's the underwater
underwater.
basket weaving master from Rupes. I've heard
that
that before.
that's somebody who the only people who know that's an inside joke, by the way. But the only people who would know that are people that have either watched a lot of my presence on YouTube videos or have been to many of my classes.
That's funny.
Um, but just so to explain it, so you know, do you
That's
know?
great. No, I don't. I've
Oh,
heard
okay.
I've heard the reference, but I don't know the background of it.
So one of the things I do just for fun to kind of break the ice at some of my events, usually, the bigger the audience, the more you want to break the ice and kind of get people loosened up in the first
Mm-hmm.
few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Or at my academy, if they're in my classroom, I kind of want to loosen
Mm-hmm.
them up. So I stand up at the beginning of a class, introduce myself, and then I say something like, "I'm so glad you're here for this underwater basket weaving class."
Mm-hmm. Oh, funny. Okay.
And everybody's like, "Wait a minute, that's not the class I signed up for."
That's
But it kind
funny.
of it kind of breaks the ice a little bit, gets people laughing.
That's hilarious. I love it. I love it.
And
All
then
right,
and then I
Jamie.
say, "Well, tomorrow is the puppy dog training class, so if you
Oh,
hang out for tomorrow, you can get that one."
too funny. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, Jamie the cleaner here saying Uno Advanced has been a big win in my studio. Absolutely. I love that product. So solid.
Thank you for that. That was
Yeah.
another 3-year project.
Yes. And then tools and systems are a game changer. Absolutely. And I always love a good tool and system that work together for sure. Alex Uno Advanced is so great. Everyone loves the
Thank you.
Uno Advanced. We love anything that makes
Appreciate
our
it.
lives easier, don't we?
Yeah,
Rod says, you both are so passionate about the industry. It's awesome to see. Thank you.
yeah, I agree with
That's what
Rod
we're
about
here
you.
for. Sometimes a little overboard. I get excited about stuff. I get
Well, we
excited.
need that enthusiasm in our industry. So
Yeah, yeah.
you're such a welcome breath of fresh air in the whole
Uh,
whatever you call your space. I know you're a trainer, but you're also an influencer, and you know
just
your voice out there is
product
exciting. Yeah,
lover. Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Uh,
Erin says, how would you recommend overcoming the trepidation of using an expensive tool for a novice detailer? This is a great question.
Interesting. Yeah. Um, I guess I don't think of it from that perspective, but that's a real
Mm-hmm.
perspective for some
Mm-hmm.
people.
Yeah.
Um, I would say that the best advice I can give is, acknowledge that it's a valuable tool and to take care of it. One
Mm-hmm.
of the things you can do to take your investment and make it last longer and work better for you is
Okay.
to learn how to use it
Mm-hmm.
properly. So
Mm-hmm.
with every tool, whether it's a drill or a sander or a saw or whatever, there are ways that certain tools operate the way they were designed. And
Mm-hmm.
then there are ways that sometimes users use them in ways that they were not designed to be used.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to buy good quality equipment and you want it to perform and get peak performance, but have a long-term experience with that tool, then I would say the best advice is just learn what you can about how to use the polisher in the way that it was designed, not the way you learned how to polish, not the way you want to do it, not the way you think it should be done, not the
Mhm.
way some YouTube videos show that it's being used,
Mhm.
but learn from the company that made the tool
Mhm.
how to get peak performance. That's my best advice, is just learn how to use it in a system.
Yeah. And my answer is kind of the same. And I know that, because I spoke on this a little bit earlier, that when you're a new detailer, you're thinking about ways to save money. And I 100% understand that. I was right there. And I bought the Harbor Freight special when I first started. And for the first, year or two, it was honestly fine because I was just laying down a coat of
Yeah.
wax. I
Yeah.
wasn't doing anything. But once I started getting into doing correction and then coatings, and I was still using the cheaper tool, that's when problems really started. And so the one thing I will say is, polisher is one of the most important investments in your business. It's definitely one that, looking back, it's one that I would not cheap out on, because really the efficiency and the wear and tear it saves on your body is going to pay you back right away for what you
Yeah.
invest in that tool.
Yeah.
And then to back up what Jason said, definitely the training. Invest in training for sure. Rupes has the Bigfoot Academy there in Denver, and then also at PNS, the training center. We teach the Rupes system there as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's something I can't stress enough. And I mean, these classes are not breaking the bank by any means. And you learn so much, so much. And if you can take away that, hesitation and fear of using that tool
Yeah.
and know how to use it right, honestly, it will,
Yeah.
it almost pays for
You won't
itself
e
in
you
the,
won't even
yeah,
think of the price after that.
yeah,
So,
yeah. It's going to
um,
pay back the price of the class and the tool. So
the other thing
definitely look into
available,
that.
Sydney, is that on the Rupes YouTube channel, we have our
Hmm.
Bigfoot 101 series. So
Oh
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
for the part-time user or the
Hmm.
car enthusiast, hobbyist, or
Yeah.
part-time detailer, if you don't want to invest the time and money to go to a class, either
Hmm.
in California at your place or in
Yeah.
Colorado at ours, if you don't want to do that, which is
Yep.
totally understandable,
Right.
you can spend some time in your
Hmm.
living room in your own place, and
Yeah.
there's our Bigfoot 101 series on the YouTube channel, and it goes through
Hmm.
the basics on how to use the system and get maximum results.
Very cool. Very cool. And I will say too that, I always assumed that more expensive meant more difficult. And that was probably the
No.
most humbling thing for me to realize, that when I, finally got my Rupes, and I have the 15, um, how it was so much easier to use than the cheap one I was using, that I almost didn't need training on it. It was just like, it was a breath of fresh air. Like it was so controlled and balanced, and, everything that was, I remember that going, huh, like I thought this was going to be harder, and it was actually easier. So
And that,
very funny.
I'm glad you said that, because that could be part of the cost that you stepped up to,
Hmm. Yeah.
is
Yep.
what you're buying into is
Yeah.
an easier to use system. So,
Right. Yep. Yep.
and that
Not just
has
a bunch of,
value.
yeah,
Yeah.
not just a bunch of Frankenstein parts thrown together. All right, my guy Kirby, which is Kirby Thompson. What tips do Jason and Sydney have that they can give first new attendees to SEMA to get a valuable visit?
Alcohol and
Good
drugs.
and good
Oh.
walking shoes. Yeah, right behind the alcohol and drugs. Get some good walking shoes. You're gonna
Yeah,
take about,
you're gonna put your steps in for
like,
sure.
yeah, like 18 to 20,000 a day,
And I would
literally.
say my
Yeah.
best suggestion is to do what I didn't do, because I've actually, I
Mhm.
think I've calculated, I think this is my 29th SEMA,
Oh wow! Holy cow!
even though I'm only 35.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
but
So you can
my
get
best
baby
advice,
Jason.
huh?
You could get baby Jason polishing.
My best advice is to have a plan. So SEMA is so big that you will never
Hmm.
go and see everything. So
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been going almost 30 years, and I've never seen
Right.
the whole show.
Yep.
So I would say, before you even go to Vegas,
Hmm.
sit down and have a plan, and
Yeah.
know there's certain companies I want to talk to, there's certain people I
Hmm.
want to talk to, there's certain booths I want to go to.
Hmm.
Have that list, have a plan. I would say also use the SEMA app.
Yep.
The app is very helpful to navigate
Mhm.
and get to places. But if you go there just thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna walk around and see
Yeah.
what's there," it's gonna be overwhelming for you. But
Super
good
overwhelming.
good set of shoes, and you're gonna put in a lot of steps.
Yeah, a lot of steps. And yeah, definitely have a plan and have a plan to only tackle, like especially the North Hall where we are. Um, Plan an entire day in that hall because that's what's going to get the most of your attention, and then plan the other halls. They're not super close together. I mean, this is you're going to
Yeah,
cover some ground, so don't try to go to multiple halls in one day. Pick, definitely spend an
yeah.
entire day in North Hall and then maybe West Hall. So try to break it up and have a plan. Have a plan for what time you're going to get there and what time you're going to leave, because that is a whole event in itself, just trying to
Oh,
get
yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
plan
it's
for a lot of people and a lot of waiting,
yep,
and
yep.
yeah, just
Yeah, lunch,
you
you'll
gotta
be
pack
standing
your
in line for an
patience.
hour. Yeah, yeah. It's
Pack your
pretty
patience.
crazy.
Oh,
This is
another
from
suggestion that I'm glad you said that because I've learned this
Mhm,
the hard way. The services for food and drinks, I think are
mhm,
pretty okay, but
mhm,
just the amount of people and waiting in lines and
mhm,
all that stuff. I always bring with me every day to
mhm,
the convention center. I bring food, I bring liquids,
mhm.
because you can't rely on
Right.
when you're thirsty or when you're hungry. You can't
Mhm,
rely on that you're going to get
mhm.
food or drink fast. So
Right.
just be prepared. Have a backpack with stuff.
Yeah.
It's important to kind of take care of the basics for you. Get enough rest. Don't party
Mhm.
all night.
Yeah.
Drink all night.
Yeah.
Get your rest. Um, Take care of your feet because you're going to be walking around a lot. Take care of your
Mhm.
body.
Yeah.
Just basic stuff. But it
Yep.
seems to me, I've observed for many years that people go to SEMA and then just
Mhm.
forget their health and forget
Yeah.
forget what their
Yeah.
basic needs are, and they're like, "Eh."
Yeah.
And then by the end of the week, you're like absolutely trashed as a human
Yeah.
being. You're destroyed.
Totally, totally. So I remember my first couple of years with PNS, we were in the West Hall, and that was, I mean, moving to the North Hall has been a huge upgrade, which the North Hall's new, so it didn't exist a few years ago. But
Yeah.
now we finally have nice bathrooms that are accessible, and we have like a little food court in the North Hall, which is quite a bit easier to get food at. But I remember those years in the West Hall, you are absolutely wrecked because
I
there
would
was.
say there's 3 booths I would
Oh,
suggest that
am
you
I
make.
saying that wrong? No, I thought
What?
Tony's saying the West Hall's the new one. I thought the North Hall. Aren't we in the North Hall? No, we're in North Hall. North Hall's the new one,
Yeah, I
right?
thought the North Hall was a
Yeah,
new
North
one.
Hall's the new one. Yeah. Um,
3 booths that you wanna make sure. I mean, there's lots of interest I'm sure you personally have, but 3 booths you
mhm.
wanna make sure you cover if we can make a suggestion.
Right, right, right.
Um, Definitely go by PNS booth, check out what they got going on. Of course, come by Rupes, see what our stuff is
Yes,
and our new products, and
yes.
also our painted polisher competition has come back this year. So
Okay.
check those out at the booth. And then check out the IDA booth. This is the first time that the IDA has a booth at SEMA. Definitely go by and say hi to those folks. So those 3 I would highly recommend.
Yes, yes, for sure. So Keith just texted me. Apparently, I'm wrong. He's saying
Oh,
the West Hall is the new one. I don't know. Look us up. We're in the detailing hall.
oh, you
I'm
know what?
confused.
That's
I
right because
Is that right?
it's on the other side of the
The West.
boulevard, so it's the West Hall is the new
Okay,
one.
so West Hall's new. We're in the West
Yeah.
Hall. So yes, definitely come check those out. However, the IDA then is in the North Hall. I know that for sure. So yes,
Mm,
first time that the IDA is at SEMA, which is super exciting. So definitely go see them. Brand new booth. None of us have seen it yet, so I'm dying to see it. We've been working on it all year, so super exciting. So brand new booth,
yeah.
first time at SEMA, so super exciting for the IDA. And then another shameless plug for the IDA, Tuesday night, right? We have the IDA meet and greet.
Ah,
I'm pretty sure that's
is it
Tuesday night.
is
Yeah,
it Thursday night? Hmm,
I think it's Tuesday.
could be.
So look that up too. So if you're going to SEMA, definitely look up the IDA meet and greet because that is always a really great event. We all go upstairs to a big room. There's food and just that's a lot of good collaboration. And then you kind of get all of the detailers kind of in one area. So definitely Look at Keith. He's coming in clutch Tuesday night. He's texting me on
Is
the
that what he
side.
said? Okay, I just
Yes.
looked it
Yep.
up. So,
Yep.
all
Tuesday
right,
night. Tuesday night.
Tuesday night. But that's in the convention center, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
in one of the rooms in the
Yep.
convention center.
Upstairs. Yep. Yep.
So
All right.
Tuesday night, I got to get that
Tuesday
on
night.
my.
Yeah. And right after SEMA closes, it's like 15, 20 minutes right after that. So,
Now that's the
um,
first day of the show.
yes. Yep.
So
Setups
what's
Monday,
also
opens Tuesday.
happening that evening is the SEMA kickoff party at Justin Day's shop.
Yes. Yep.
So what I've been doing in the past is I go to the IDA
Yep.
meet and greet first, hang
Exactly.
out, do that first, and then go over to
Yep.
Justin Day's party.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then Wednesday we have Rennie's party. And yeah, there's parties going on all week, which is super cool. All right. So Mark Abar says, do you see Rupes getting into the coding world or just staying with the best in paint finishes? Good question.
Yeah, this one, it's difficult to answer. Honestly, I'm not being invasive, but it is a difficult question because first of all, I don't speak for Rupes. I'm not the
Hmm.
representative, and I can't tell you what our future decisions are. But I can tell you right now, in the space of coatings, our stance as a company is that we go Switzerland on this topic.
Hmm.
So we love them all, we support them all, and the simple reason it's a practical commercial reason for this stance,
Hmm.
and that is that there's many coating companies that support the use of our system to prepare the paint before their coating application.
Hmm.
And if Rupes came out with a coating, we would be in direct competition with some of our own,
Yeah.
people that are promoting our system. So
Yeah.
we do get close. However, we're kind of kissing the category, I call it a
Hmm.
little bit,
Hmm. Hmm.
because Uno Advanced does
Yeah.
have a nanoparticle
Hmm.
component to its
Sure.
chemistry.
Yeah.
So in one sense, we're kind of already in the game, but we're like
Hmm.
we're sticking our toes in the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I honestly, personally, I don't see Rupes coming out in the direction of a dedicated, authentic,
Hmm.
traditional paint coating because we want to have the position that we support
Hmm.
companies like
Yeah.
PNS and
Yep.
others that have coatings. And another thing I would say is at our academy, we do a lot of events that are partnered with other companies. So other
Hmm.
companies come into our academy and we do a together event. And
Hmm.
many of those companies are coating companies.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
That totally makes sense. And I love that at events where there's kind of, the experts in each step. I think that those are always like my favorite events,
yeah,
you look at like the ones like we just were at Bedco together, right? You made a surprise visit at Bedco. And I love those where there's the towel company, the pad company, the product
yeah,
company, and the tool
yeah,
company. That was so
yeah,
great, right?
yeah,
Yeah, those are
yeah,
fun. Those are fun.
yeah.
Awesome. All right. Rod Pusey says, can both of you talk about extending the life of products while polishing? Plus, does the new product release mean that I'm going to have to make new stickers? So that did come from Rod. So he
From
wants to know, oh, you know what he's talking about is, how they have the Rupes polishers in their logo, that they just redid last year? It's like the two polishers
Oh, now
and
I
it
get
says
his
Rhoda Fest.
question.
That's what he's talking about.
Now
So
I
he
get it.
wants to know, yes. So he's trying
Uh,
to get it out of you. He wants to know
he
if
is
he's going to have to change the images
very
on
clever.
his, yes.
Clever question. So
Right,
here's my
right.
answer, Rod. Maybe.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So
Maybe.
talk about extending the life of products while polishing. This is a great question.
Um, Products. So product is kind of a vague
So I think he
word.
means like, so I think like my answer for what I'm assuming he's asking is making sure you know the life cycle of the product, right? Because I know that especially when using like the Rupes polishing system is totally different than some of the other like
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah,
one
yeah.
steps or compounds
I
because there's
gotcha.
like
Okay.
there's a life cycle. And then so I would put this in two ways. I would put it as how do you extend to make sure you're using the chemical correctly to extend the life, but then also the life of the pads. Let's do
Yeah.
that both
Got
ways.
you. Okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, let me just set the stage for this answer I'm going to give because uh, those of you that have been to my class, I teach this philosophy that there's 4 things that create the result when you're machine polishing on a car on paint. There's 4 things that create the result you got,
Mhm.
and that is there's a tool, there's a pad, there's a compound, and there's a person.
Mhm.
And if you take any of those 4 out of the mix,
Mhm.
I don't know what you're doing, but you're not polishing on paint. You
Right.
you you need those 4. They're
Yeah.
absolutely required. All 4 of
Yeah.
those are required.
Mhm.
So when we think about this concept of how do you get things, those components, how do you get those to last longer? How do you get them to maintain peak performance?
Mhm.
Because I think all any of you that have polished on paint before, that your first couple of minutes using a system and
Mhm.
2 hours later, that pad does not perform the same.
Right.
Things are not doing the same result as you did when you started. So
Mhm.
this is a good question. So here's some things regarding the tool. I would say if you want tools to be operating at peak performance and to have them last that way, understand how the tool works. We already talked about this before. Understand how the
Mhm.
tool is designed to work and use it that way.
Mhm.
Pads. If you want to maintain peak performance with pads, and not just Rupes, but any pad,
Yeah.
you need to have a very thorough and frequent pad cleaning
Mhm.
process while you're working on the car. I'm not talking about end of car, end of day, end of project. I'm talking about while you're actually working on the car, there are
Mhm.
some things you can do to reset the performance. The
Mhm.
reality of using a pad is the more you use a pad, the more there's paint residue and compound residue load, the more temperature, internal friction inside the pad. All
Mhm.
those, they take away from your performance every application that you do on a car.
Right.
So peak performance on your first application,
Mhm.
something less and less and less every application after that.
Mhm.
So if you aren't doing a reset on performance, which means you're using a blowgun,
Mhm.
probably the Tornador style or Tornado
Mhm.
style, you're
Mhm.
going to blow out that pad and clean it.
Mhm.
Some kind of thorough pad cleaning, but do it
Mhm.
frequently.
Yeah.
As far as compounds go, what I could say on that is the 2 things that immediately come to mind. One is cycle time. You mentioned it.
Mhm. Mhm.
I want everybody to realize this. I sent out a message last week because I was talking to detailers who were having paint
Mhm.
challenging polishing problems, and I'm on the
Mhm.
phone coaching them through a
Right.
car.
Yeah.
And I want to get on a soapbox and tell everybody that whether it's a Rupes compound or a PNS or a McGuire's, whatever compound you use,
Yeah.
what I'm about to tell you is it's factual and you should pay attention. And that is that every compound and polish has its own intentional application cycle.
Mhm.
And you need to understand what that is. And there are companies that are not good about saying what that is. You just got to figure it
Right.
out on your own.
Yeah.
But understand what that is, because when you understand what that cycle time is, you're going to be using the compound in the best way that it was designed to be used.
Yes.
So there are people that overcycle our Rupes compounds and
Mhm.
they are not happy because
Right.
they overcycled it. Ours are
Yep.
made for a 60-second or less
Yes.
application.
Right.
If you go beyond that, it's on
Yep.
you what results you get.
Exactly. Exactly. And I say that all the time because, and I think that's why I'm a big supporter of companies who provide education on their products because this is important because you have to get the
Yeah.
messaging out there on what the limitations of the products are. Because if
Yeah.
you're using it completely incorrectly, which as I did when I first started, I would use the same pad and the same polish for several panels. I mean, I'll admit
Yeah.
it. And then I'd be like, man, this stuff's terrible. So
Yeah. Yeah. You'll
definitely,
get a bad experience. So
yeah.
just
So if
understand that
you're,
cycle time.
yeah. So if you're learning, definitely do your research, and it takes like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Search up YouTube, and we always say, you're going to use it. The Rupes system. They're going to tell you right off the bat, it's got a 60-second or less cycle time,
Yeah.
and if you go over that, then you're not going to be real happy.
And
And then there's
the
some that
other,
are going to, and then there's some that you're going to say you've got, you could do
or
9 passes with the same product. So
two
know
or
the
3 minute
limitations. Yeah,
application. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
the other thing we have to say when you're talking about uh, the health and longevity of compounds, you have to say this, and that is close the caps.
Yes.
When you're
Yes.
done working with a compound, close that cap. I'm not talking
Yep.
about every application, but when you're
Mhm.
done with that car,
Mhm.
close this cap because there's so many
Mhm.
complaints or comments on social media websites about dusty compounds.
Yes.
And I guarantee you companies don't sit there and think, let's create a compound that's dusty for people.
Mhm.
That doesn't happen. We don't think about, formulas to create dust for people, but
Mhm.
anybody's products, whether it's Rupes or any brand, if you leave
Mhm.
that cap open, there are solvents and water and there's
Right.
ingredients that can outgas. And then the next time you use that product, it's a different formula.
Yep.
It's not the same formula. It's a different product.
Mhm.
And the likelihood that you're going to get dust or short cycling because it dried out, you
Yeah.
actually dried out your product in the bottle.
Yep.
So super important on those things. Close the caps,
For
understand the
sure.
cycle time, clean your pads frequently. There was a question I saw on pad cleaning. If you're
Mhm.
using a blowgun,
Yes.
the mistake people make is a perpendicular or a
Yes.
right angle. If you're blowing straight into a pad like this, I don't care if it's
Mhm.
foam, wool, microfiber, whatever, you
Mhm.
are hurting that pad. And
Yeah.
you're also blowing debris further into the material. So you
Yep.
want an angle.
Mhm.
You want to blow at an angle so that that
Mhm.
air bounces off the pad like
Mhm.
this, and
Yeah.
then the health of the pad is good long term.
Yep, yep. And just to kind of back that up, because and I don't know who this is coming from. This one's not showing up on the lounge for some reason. But so also, in your opinion, does using a pad washer after each pass panel work? So here's where I like to talk a lot about pads and pad usage. So I'm a huge fan of pad cycling. So I am one that I have noticed a huge decrease in the wear and tear on my pads if I have a lot of them. So
Oh yeah, and you're
whatever,
swapping them out while you're
yeah,
on the car.
yep,
Yeah,
yeah.
for
So
sure,
it,
for sure.
for me, I probably use 8 of the same color pad per vehicle. Like I
Beautiful,
like to just do
beautiful.
one per, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't want to have to clean it out in between. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, there's just really something to be said about a nice
and
fresh
those
clean
and
pad.
those 8 pads will last longer
Oh yeah, I've had the
than
same
if you
8
tried the
pads.
one or
Yes.
two. Yeah,
Yes. And so that is the biggest
yeah,
mistake because I used to do that. Is I
yeah,
used to buy 2 and then use the heck out of them and just beat them up and then they'd be it was just a whole
yeah,
show.
yeah,
So I like to have a lot of this of especially my favorite color, and I certainly have ones that I use the most. And so I like to have enough so that I have a full set for each
yeah,
car of each color. Now,
yep,
if you can't do that right away, that's no problem. The blowing out totally works. You can also do things like you can have like an interior scrub mitt. You can use like our carpet bomber, spray it on, run that over the machine. That kind of gets some of that out at a low speed. And then also, I will use a pad washer occasionally, and I do have one, and I like it. The thing about the pad washer to remember is um, you're going to spend about the same amount on a pad washer as if you just had a full set series of pads for that vehicle. So I
uh,
promise you, you'll save time if you invest in a good amount of pads versus trying to use a pad washer. Just because the pad washer, it takes a long time to clean. I mean, you're probably a minute. I mean, to do it properly, you're a minute
yeah.
and a half to 2 minutes every time you clean that pad. And they still do retain a lot of water, no matter how much you
That's
know,
the part I'm
yeah,
not
you
a
spin them
fan of
out.
the
Yeah,
the bucket washers because they
right.
they put chemicals and water into the pad, and that's the part I
Yes.
don't like.
Yeah. So sometimes I'll use them, but usually I try to let the pad dry because also like Jason said, entering, those chemicals and the water into now
Yeah.
your product you're using,
Yep.
you're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
going to continue to slowly diminish your correction. And then you're going to have one side that looks great. And so I'm just a big fan of having a real investment in pads if you can.
Yeah.
And like I said, that pad washer is going to cost you about the same as if you just had a full set of pads and then you just cleaned them after
Good
you were
point.
done.
Good point. Yeah.
So yeah, huge fan of pad cycling. I
Yeah.
am. All right, Fast Eddie says, any dates for upcoming training at the Rupes Bigfoot Academy?
Yeah. So our academy has many more events that we do that are not on our website.
Hmm.
And the reason is because we partner with other companies like PNS and other
Hmm.
companies. We partner to do events at our academy. And
Hmm.
if we're hosting an event with another company, the promotion and the marketing and the
Hmm.
registration for that event happens at
Hmm.
their website.
Mhm.
not ours.
Right.
But we're getting better about posting any event here, whether it's
Mhm.
ours or theirs. But we will have a link to their website to register.
Mhm.
But the answer is, if you want to kind of see what is being posted on events for us, go to
Mhm.
rupesusa.com. Rupesusa.com, click on the academy, you'll see
Mhm.
the schedule. We put in events all the time. So what you see there is not all that's available at that moment. You could
Mhm.
check a week later and there might be 2 more events posted up. So
Right. Right.
just check it frequently. You'll see events go popped
Yeah.
up all the time.
Yeah. And you guys have trainers out in the field too that go to other locations and kind of
Yeah, thank
provide a
you.
condensed
Thank you.
version, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I
we
know.
actually have we've gotten such positive feedback on our curriculum and our
Mhm.
training experience at the academy that
Mhm.
we now are doing what we call the BFA on the road, the Bigfoot Academy on the road.
Mhm. Mhm.
So the training content that we do here at the academy is now being offered at other locations,
Mhm.
other training centers like PNS and Hayward,
Yes. Yep.
um, other places, and we have developed
Mhm.
trainers within our team. So we
Yep.
actually have 5 now that
Mhm.
can go around the country and just offer classes anywhere.
Yes. Yep.
So
Yeah. So just really pay attention to their social media. I know they're really good about posting all of their traveling events, and then check their website for their home based events. Because and then yes, PNS Hayward is a Rupes training facility, and so Tony every month does train on the Rupes system. But for more in depth, you can watch. I know Prentice has been there twice doing the full Rupes training
yeah,
at the PNS Hayward facility. So yeah, just watch social media. We try to get all of those out there and shared and all that good stuff. But I definitely recommend going to one. You'll learn so much, so
there
much.
was
All right.
another question by EC Details about the working time of our DA course and
Yeah.
DA fine, and
Yeah.
the general answer we've already said, which is 60 seconds or less. And the caveat to that is if you're on softer paint, which you would know because defects come out really
Hmm.
fast and that paint might be haze prone. But
Hmm.
if you're on softer paint, our suggestion is to, with our system, even shorten up that application time to 30 seconds.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
the softer the paint is, you can have this condition where you can quickly overwork the paint.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you might have gotten a good result at 30 seconds, but if you went all the way to
Hmm.
60, now you have a micro marring or a haze.
Right.
So if you stopped at 30 seconds, you would have had defects removed and a good result.
Hmm.
But because you overworked it, now you might have a mark.
Yeah.
So pay attention to paint hardness,
Yeah.
but somewhere between 30 and 60 seconds, all of our system has been tuned. It's actually
Hmm.
been
Hmm.
formulated for
Right.
that application time.
Yeah, perfect.
What
All
do we
right,
got here?
Steve, as a DIY, I'm hesitant to get into polishing. Too many products to choose from, pads, compounds,
Oh, yeah.
tools, and too little paint. Not much room for error. Is this something best left to professionals?
That's a good
That's,
question.
yeah, good. And I would hesitate to give a flat answer of yes, because while I am a professional and I love for people to come to me, and I hate seeing things that people, mess up per se.
Yeah,
But I think that if you're calling yourself a DIY, meaning you love your own vehicle and you want to take care of it, I think polishing nowadays is not as scary as it seems.
I would agree with that. There was that same question asked 10 years ago,
Hmm.
15 years ago, 20 years ago. I think I would have a different answer.
Yeah.
But given today's technology, I think tools have advanced,
Hmm.
compounds have advanced, pads have advanced, and I think there's on the market a lot of really
Hmm.
great products that have upped their game on
Hmm.
results and performance, but
Yeah.
also delivering an easier to apply
Right.
procedure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
would say to this person, Steve, that um, I understand it can be intimidating the number, the sheer number of options. I mean, if you just take one part of the system, so that there's 4, the tool, the compound, the pad, and the person. If you
Hmm.
just take the tool, there's crazy amounts of choices you could pick. If you
Yeah.
take the compound, there's hundreds of brands
Hmm.
now,
Yeah.
hundreds. And
Right.
pads, there's many, many, many different types of pads and many different brands of pads. So
Yeah.
it can be so overwhelming. And I get that
Hmm.
part. I totally get that part.
Hmm.
But what you could do is do your research, find a company, find a system that has been designed to be easy to apply,
Mhm.
try that system. And I would say that you shouldn't be intimidated now to go on your own
Right.
car, on your own paint, because
Yeah.
the technology is there for
Mhm.
you to get great results on your own car in a
Yeah.
short amount of time.
Yeah. And I'm going to sound like a broken record here, and I'm just going to cap that off with and use the companies that are providing you the education to be successful to do it yourself. Let's say that again.
Yeah.
Okay, so Claus says this is a good question too. Does a waffle pad have more benefit in terms of the standard ones if we are talking using on a DA?
Interesting question. Yeah. Um, well, first of all, there's a lot of misconceptions about this question. And just so everybody knows, we're comparing a waffle pad, or what I would call a pattern pad, because a
Hmm.
pattern pad encompasses all the patterns. That's not just only waffle, because
Right.
there's
Hmm.
a diamond cut pattern, there's a
Hmm.
cross cut pattern, there's
There's dimple cut. Yeah.
dimples, there's
Yep.
all kinds of whatever pattern is put on the foam, that's a pattern pad.
Hmm.
And then we're comparing that to a pad that's flat surface.
Hmm.
Now, I will explain the science, and you just have to trust me or try this on your own, and you'll
Hmm.
experience, because this is science, it's physics.
Hmm.
If you're comparing a pattern pad to a flat surface pad will always outperform in terms of cut and finish
Hmm.
any pattern pad.
Yep.
So if you're looking at just cut and finish, like removing defects and creating clarity in paint,
Hmm.
a flat surface pad will always do that better and faster than a waffle pad or a pattern pad.
Hmm.
Having said that, one of the realities on the commercial side of the detailing industry is that pattern pads have extremely strong sales. And in some countries around the world, waffle or pattern pads outsell flat
Hmm.
pads.
Hmm.
So, why is that? Why are so many users selecting a pattern pad over a flat pad? If the flat pad performs better,
Hmm.
why are all these sales on pattern pads? And here's the answer. It's about surface area. So you're applying a tool that has a movement, and the pad is the surface that applies it to the pad surface applies it to the paint surface.
Hmm.
So whatever that tool movement is, it's being worked through that pad material.
Hmm.
And what waffle pads or pattern pads give you as the user is less surface area.
Hmm.
Now, what less surface area does for you is less pad drag. You're not fighting the pad movement as much. So it delivers a smoother
Hmm.
experience. So many people don't know this, but if you're listening to me and you prefer waffle pads, if you really thought about it, one of the reasons you prefer it is because it's much smoother with less pad drag. You're not
Yes.
fighting
Right.
the pad as much.
Yep.
So the reason waffle or pattern pads are chosen are for the user experience,
Hmm.
which is important. That's
Hmm.
To me, that's just as important as the result you get.
Hmm.
So if you're not fighting a pad and it's super smooth, then that's a
Hmm.
value.
Yeah.
But there is a science behind this flat versus waffle.
Yeah, and that's so true because I know when I first started paint correcting, I was using like a hex cut pad, and I mainly bought it because I thought it looked cool. I was heavily influenced with the way that it looked
Uh-huh. Yeah.
because I didn't know. But it's funny now that I obviously have been trained so heavily in paint correction that last year I get samples of pads and things like that, and I had some that had a texture to it. Right, we'll just say that.
Yeah.
And I remember pulling it off the paint and looking at the pad and going, this doesn't seem right because there was product stuck within the pattern.
Hmm.
There was compound stuck within the pattern.
Yeah.
And so you could, logic then at that point told me exactly that. Well, that means that entire pad is not making a contact with the surface.
Yeah.
And all of this product is not being used. And so it's essentially just kind of being smeared around the areas with the contact. And so I remember thinking, like, now that I know what I know, I remember going, this doesn't seem right. So yeah, that totally makes
Well, and what
sense.
you just described is it supports the science that I
Hmm.
explained, which is
Hmm.
less surface area.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they were
that
easy to
means that
use for
that
sure.
little pocket,
Yeah.
the little
Yep.
pocket of compound
Hmm.
was not being pressured or applied
Right.
with pressure to the paint surface. So that little pocket wasn't really working for you.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the other parts of the pad that were making firm contact, they were
Mhm.
working for you.
Yeah.
It's just percentage wise, the total surface area is
Yeah.
reduced with a
Yeah.
textured or a pattern
Yeah.
pad.
Yeah. I definitely
Yeah.
prefer a flat pad. All right. So EC Details, which is this Eddie cologne, by the way. Oh, whoops. Hold on. My thing just got covered up. Okay. So Jason, thanks for answering that. Are your liquids diminishing? So this is something that comes up in the industry a lot, diminishing and non-diminishing. And for the newbies, what makes a non-diminishing or a diminishing compound good or bad?
Ay. Somebody has to ask this
That's
question.
a loaded question.
Um,
And
and
this is the last question, by the way,
I
everybody,
just got,
because this one's
yeah,
going to take a minute.
I got his
This one's
message.
going to take a minute.
I actually, to be honest, to be totally honest and frank, I can't adequately answer that question in the context of this amount of time on a podcast. But what I can answer is there are two things to consider with this question about diminishing and non-diminishing, and basically I call that the behavior of the abrasive itself.
Hmm.
So abrasive behavior, and there is differences in the way abrasives behave within a compound formula, but I call that abrasive behavior.
Hmm.
Um, the thing I want to draw people's attention to is that there's a lot of focus on abrasive behavior, and I want to say it it doesn't matter. I want to tell people it really doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Um, the latest formulas, the latest tech and compounds, if it was created within the last 10 years, it has a certain abrasive technology to it, and it's kind of all the same for many brands, but different densities, different quality of particles and things like that. But as far as category of abrasives, if it was created in the last 10 years,
Hmm.
it's pretty much in that bucket of abrasive tech.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we're all talking about similar stuff. But now the older products, really old, going back to
Hmm.
1990s, 1980s, 1970s, that's where the real and authentic diminishing abrasive technology, you can kind of see those products back then, but it's
Hmm.
something different now. What I would draw people's attention to is the visual application cycle is actually more important to you than what the abrasive is doing. What you can observe when you apply a compound and you do your passes and whatever amount of time you do it in, what you can observe, that is actually more important than what the abrasive is doing.
Right.
What I mean by that is there's lots of compounds that are formulated to be short cycle. There's some that are formulated to be long cycle,
Hmm.
but it has nothing to do with the behavior of the abrasive. So it's like dials on a radio. A chemist
Hmm.
can tune
Hmm.
the cycle time, like the visual application time of a compound. That a chemist can tune that
Hmm.
has nothing to do with what the abrasive is doing.
Yep.
So I would just draw people's attention to the fact that what's more important than understanding if it's diminishing or non
Hmm.
is understanding your cycle time. It's super important to understand that part, um,
Very much.
because the
Very much.
abrasive behavior is what it is, and it's going to do what it does. And really focus on results. If you apply a product the way it was designed to be applied,
Hmm.
and you get a result, that isn't that more important than what's in the bottle?
Hmm.
I mean,
Yep.
I hate to be that way. I feel like I'm like dodging the bullet, not answering the
Hmm.
question, and actually that is true. I'm not. I don't like answering the question, is it diminishing or non? I don't like that
Right.
question
Yeah.
because in my mind, there's more important things.
Hmm. Yeah.
The
It's giving
the
almost a false
behavior.
sense of the products. Yeah. Totally.
Another way I do this, Sydney, is because I in my academy, I get people who come here and they actually push this question really hard. Hey, is it diminishing or non?
Hmm.
And I want to just it's a metaphor or an illustration, but we all have one of these, right?
Hmm.
I mean, most of us have one of these. How many times do we use this every day?
Mm-hmm.
I
More
don't
than
know.
we'd like. Yeah.
Hundreds of
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Now, I use this hundreds of times successfully, and I'm happy with it, and it does what I want to do. Sometimes it does too much, and I want to throw it across the room, but
Mm-hmm.
use this every day. But do I understand what's inside this and how this
Right.
works and what it does? I have
Yeah.
no idea. I
Right.
have no idea.
Yeah. And we
But
don't
I
care, right? We just
faithfully
want it to
use it.
work. Yeah.
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 So I'm saying think about compounds that way. Um, what is in the bottle, the ingredients and the behavior of the abrasive, to me, it doesn't matter
Right.
what
Yep.
result you
Totally.
get, and the
Totally.
cycle time is actually more important.
Totally. Totally. All right. Tony's here. That means it is time to wrap up. So
We're
we've
getting the hook.
Yeah, we went well over our time today because Jason is such a wealth of knowledge. So just
I
to
brought
wrap
the
up a
big,
couple,
yeah, the cartoon hook.
yeah, just to wrap up a couple things real quick. Number one, Jason, thank you so much. This was so amazing. You are
My
so
pleasure.
great and have such a wealth of knowledge. I know everyone was very excited you were here today. So a week from today, we all descend on Las Vegas and set up our booths. So starting next Tuesday through Friday is SEMA. We are in the West Hall. We are booth number 51147. So make sure you come check us out. We will have the whole team there. It will be, kind of various times in and out. Like I said at the beginning, Tony won't be there till Wednesday morning. I will be there the whole week. Rennie will be in and out all week as he's got his other booths that he's working out with Dynabraid. And Tony, you'll be there Wednesday through Friday, right?
Yep, I'll be
And
there.
we've got Ian, of course, Bob and Dave, and Keith. So we will all be there, and it'll be super exciting. And then don't forget 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, the Rupes YouTube channel.
Rupes YouTube.
Because you don't want to find out from the posts online. You want to see it for yourself, right? It's that exciting. So
Yep.
make sure you're there. Jason, do you have anything else for us today?
Give yourself the 20 minutes because it's a 20, I think it's
Okay.
19-minute video, but give yourself
Okay.
because
Cool. That's good to know.
It's incredible. It's a product announcement, but there's also a lot of juicy information in this video.
Okay. Cool.
Well, I have a couple of big takeaways real quick on today's show.
Okay.
One is that Jason mentioned, several times that they like to do their trainings and partner with other brands. And so, and you, Sydney, mentioned that it's been a while since you've been to the Rupes training studio, the Bigfoot Academy.
It's been 4 years.
I have never been. And I think I would benefit hugely personally, as well as on the trainer side of things, of going through
I agree.
this class.
I agree.
So it sounds like we need to team up and have a little bit of a partnership there. Send me out there, send you out there, and
for sure.
The other big
Let's do it.
Is that if we find someone in their booth at SEMA who looks particularly vulnerable, you go high, I'll go low. We'll take them out, and we just recruit one more person to steal.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
That'll be good. No, that's awesome. What a great show. What great questions. Obviously, the big takeaway is Eddie Cologne always brings the heat with the questions.
Yep.
Love Eddie. What a ton of good information. I learned a little bit too, which is always awesome. Thank you so much, Jason.
My pleasure.
For the kind of final wrap up of where to find all of us, obviously our next show I think is November 6th, so we'll all be recovering from SEMA.
Yes.
I have training the following week, so that's exciting. November classes at Hayward are filling up, so look to psdetailproducts.com if you're interested in those. Jason mentioned the Rupes website as well for training on their end. But where else can everybody find you guys? Social medias and all those kind of things.
Yes. So I have one major announcement. So because you mentioned our next show. So yes, Tony, I do have Bead Maker and Coffee on November 6th, which is the Monday following SEMA week. However, I have a surprise. It's not going to be a surprise because I'm going to tell you right now, but I have a guest appearance, I guess I will say. So on Wednesday, I, myself, Keith, and Rennie are heading to Hayward for our international distributor experience.
Yes.
So we had a distributor experience earlier this year in Big Bear. This time it is our international partners are coming ahead of SEMA to Hayward, and we're doing kind of a really fun distributor experience training with them. So we have several partners coming in from all over. And so we thought it would be fun. On Friday morning, we had a slot scheduled for them to have like a question and answer with the chemist, with Dave Phillips. So we decided that we're going to do a special live of Beadmaker and Coffee so that everybody can join in that with our international distribution partner. So that should be super fun. So watch for that. I will put out a graphics for that, but we will actually have a special episode of Beadmaker and Coffee this Friday with
the chemist.
Yes, with Dave, and then with our international partners in attendance. So that should be super fun. So we will see you back right before SEMA, but so look for that. That'll be super fun.
Awesome.
Otherwise, so Jason, I'll let everybody know everywhere they can find you.
Yeah.
Besides Google.
rupesusa.com, website for academy stuff. I have 2 pages on Facebook. There's the public figure page, and then my personal profile. I'm active in both of those. Instagram, I don't even know how to find me on Instagram.
Well, you're all over the Rupes page. So
I haven't figured out how to use Instagram just between us girls.
Yeah.
I don't know how to use it.
You're all over the Rupes page. You just say Rupes USA.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then Keith Duplessis came in earlier and stated that you have really good videos on your LinkedIn profile.
Good to know. I think my marketing team probably is doing some stuff.
See, and I'm the opposite. I have no idea what LinkedIn is, so hopefully it's appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah. Hopefully they're not looking on my fans only page.
Right. Oh gosh, that'd be great.
Jason and some polishers.
Yeah. Look at these battery tools.
That's great.
We spiraled down really quickly here.
We did, yes.
Just cut this off.
All right.
Well,
thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you again, Jason.
Sure.
I appreciate you.
And we'll see you again soon. We'll see you at SEMA, and congratulations, early congratulations on SEMA tomorrow.
Congratulations on whatever comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, whatever.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us for Beadmaker and Coffee. We'll see you guys next time.